Okay, let's just cut right through all the noise. I mean, forget the fads, forget the trends, all the confusing stuff you see online. Today, we are going back to basics. This is the 100% accurate, no-nonsense guide to what is really in your food. We're talking foundational science, the stuff that just doesn't change. Ready? Let's dive in.
It's a pretty big question, right? What are you really made of? Well, believe it or not, the answer starts right there on your plate. If you want to understand yourself, you first have to understand the essential building blocks you're putting into your body every single day.
So here's our game plan. We're going to start with the three big energy providers, the Trinity. Then we're going to clear up the real story on fats. After that, we'll decode the vitamin alphabet. And we'll finish up with the single most important nutrient of them all. Let's get to it.
All right, first up, the energy trinity. These are the three macronutrients that do two huge jobs. They provide the fuel to run your body, and they supply the raw materials to build and repair it. You can think of them as the engine and the chassis of you.
So let's start with carbohydrates. I want you to think of carbs as your body's favorite high-octane fuel. It's the quickest, most direct source of energy you can possibly get. Your body breaks them down into glucose for that immediate go, and it's smart enough to store the rest in your liver and muscles, kind of like a ready-to-go power pack for later. And here's the hard data that proves just how efficient they are. Every single gram of glucose, which is a simple carb, gives you about 4.5 kilocalories of energy. That instant power is exactly why your body is wired to reach for them first. It's just simple, effective fuel.
And this chart just says it all, doesn't it? It shows you just how dominant carbs are meant to be in our diet. For most healthy people, a massive 55 to 75% of our total energy is designed to come from carbohydrates. When it comes to fueling our day, they are absolutely the main event. Next up are fats. Now, if carbs are your daily spending cash, fats are like your long-term savings account. They're a dense, backup energy reserve. In fact, for a healthy adult, about 7% of your body weight is made up of this crucial backup power, just stored away for the long haul.
And here's why they are such an incredible backup. Just look at that number. 1 single gram of fat packs a whopping 9.3 kilocalories of energy. That is more than double the punch of carbs. It makes them this incredibly concentrated form of power, perfect for when that primary fuel starts to run low.
And rounding out our energy trinity are proteins. These are quite literally the bricks and mortar of your body. They're made of these little things called amino acids, and they are absolutely critical for building and repairing everything, from your muscles to your skin to your hair. But they actually do even more than that. You see, proteins have this amazing dual role. Yeah, they can be a backup fuel source, giving you about 4 kilocalories per gram. But their most vital job, and you have to remember this, is being the only place you can get 10 essential amino acids. Your body just can't make them, so if you don't eat them, you don't get them. It's really that simple. Okay, let's take a closer look at what is probably the most misunderstood macronutrient of them all, fats. There is so much confusion out there about good fats and bad fats, but you know what? The science is actually pretty clear once you see how they work. So let's break it down. So what is the actual difference? Well, it all comes down to their chemical structure and what that structure does in your body. Saturated fats are solid at room temperature. Think of butter. Unsaturated fats are liquid, like olive oil. And here's why that really matters. That liquid flexibility allows unsaturated fats to help build healthy, fluid cells. Too much rigid saturated fat can get in the way of that. Plus, and this is a big one, unsaturated fats give us essential fatty acids that our bodies can't make. Okay, so what does this look like in your kitchen, in the real world? Saturated fats? You'll find those in foods like butter, coconut oil, fatty meats, and full-fat dairy. And the beneficial unsaturated ones? They're in things like fish, olive oil, walnuts, and avocados. You start to see the pattern, right? Whole plant sources and fish tend to be rich in these more functional, flexible fats. But hang on, there's a third category we need to talk about, the artificial ones. Trans fats are man-made. They literally don't exist in nature in this form. They're created when manufacturers take a perfectly healthy liquid fat, like a vegetable oil, and they blast it with hydrogen atoms to make it solid and last longer on a shelf. This process, called hydrogenation, creates a type of fat our bodies just aren't designed to handle. It's the one that's been shown to raise bad LDL cholesterol and is linked to a ton of health problems. All right, so beyond the big three energy sources, our bodies need what I like to call a specialized toolkit to make sure everything runs smoothly. And that's where vitamins come in.
They're these amazing organic compounds that we only need in tiny amounts, but wow, they have a massive, system-wide impact.
First, we've got the fat-soluble vitamins. That's A, D, E, and K. Your body is really clever about these. It can actually store them in your liver and your fat tissue to use later. And as you can see, each one has a super specific job. Vitamin A is crucial for your vision, vitamin D is essential for bone health, E helps project your nerve function, and K, well, K is the key to making your blood clot properly. Each one is a specialist.
Now, the other group is water-soluble. These are your B vitamins, which are basically the workhorses for your entire metabolism, and of course vitamin C, which is absolutely essential for tissue repair. Now, unlike the fat-soluble guys, your body doesn't really store these. B12 is kind of the main exception. That means you need a regular, fresh supply from your diet to keep everything running the way it should.
So, we've covered carbs, fats, proteins, and the vitamin alphabet, but we've saved the single most critical component of all for last. This is the one nutrient you absolutely positively cannot live without.
Yep, it's water. And please, don't think of it as just something to quench your thirst. Water is your body's entire operating system. It transports every single other nutrient we've talked about. It regulates your temperature, and it's the medium where every single metabolic reaction in your body happens. I mean, think about it. You can survive for weeks without food, but only a few days without water. It isn't just part of the system, it is the system.
And really, that brings us to the core takeaway of all of this. For just a minute, forget all the complicated diet rules. Just focus on these fundamentals. Because understanding these core building blocks, the fuel, the construction materials, the specialized tools, and the operating system, that is the true foundation of nutrition. I love this definition from our source material because it just strips it all back to the basics. Food isn't just about taste or culture or convenience. At its most fundamental scientific level, its purpose is to provide the raw materials that your cells need to get energy, to maintain your life, and to grow.
So, we've just handed you the blueprint for what's in your food. You now get the role of every single component, from the fuel right down to the building blocks. So the only real question left is this. Now that you have this knowledge, what are you going to choose to build? Thanks so much for joining us.